loving, good loving, good loving. There's nobody who can tell me the love that you give to me will fade away. I can feel you can feel me. You know just how to love me in a special way. I wanna be with you each and every day. What's up, YouTube? Loving, good loving, good loving. Girl, what are you good loving, good love, good loving. Are you good loving? What are you good loving? Oh, good loving. Yes, it's only 8:30 in the morning on a Saturday. What's up, YouTube? I decided to come on down and do a live stream or two. Good loving, I want all your good loving, good love. All your good loving, oh, 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 oh. All your good loving, good love. Baby, what are you good loving, oh, I want all your good loving, want all your good loving, good loving. What's up, YouTube? Thank you for tuning in now and in the future. I think we have one viewer, and that viewer might be me. But you know how things age on the internet. Sometimes you just never know how far that one piece of information goes. May not even happen in your lifetime. But you just got to put it out there. You got to put your own voice, your own thoughts out there, because that's what you're supposed to do. That's why you exist, you see. That's why you exist. That's why we have individuals. And each of our purpose, we have many purposes, but one of the most important purposes is to exist and to express and to create, to be a creator. So here we are. We're going to create some wonderful things today, aren't we? You and I together. So here we go. We're going to create some wonderful thoughts and conclusions. Everything is up for grabs as far as information goes. So we each have a unique perspective, an individual perspective. And therefore, we're going to not always agree, and we're going to disagree. So you may disagree with what I'm saying today. That's fine. No harm, nothing wrong with that. So let me see. But we're going to do, I just want to do random stuff, but at the same time, not so random, if that makes sense. I know that might be a little some people can't wrap their head around that. Is it either random or is it not random? Well, have you ever heard the term lateral thinking? Yeah. Well, anyway, we'll cover that topic another day. But I wanted to come out here and talk about, first of all, Happy New Year to you. I hope you and your family had a great holiday, a great Christmas, great Thanksgiving, and happy belated New Year to you. I know it's already February, and I just got done celebrating my birthday. Yes, I had a really wonderful birthday. Had a wonderful Christmas. I had a wonderful New Year's. I was really touched. I mean, not that I'm not touched all the time, but this past Christmas especially, I just got so many wonderful things from people. I felt really loved. I felt belonging and loved and support and nurture. All of the wonderful things that just about any normal human being would want. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I felt really great. It was just like I had the celebration with togetherness with people, and then I also had some alone time. And I really, really appreciated that. I know that a lot of people don't like to be alone on Christmas, but there's absolutely nothing wrong with being alone on Christmas. And here's why. Because sometimes you can be with a bunch of people that are very toxic, that are very, very dangerous even. And they can be genetically related to you. They can be very close to you. Physical proximity. You might be in the same house with them. Matter of fact, I'm going to caution you even further. They can be in your head between your ears. There's a lot of stuff where you can see the flaw in another person outside of yourself. But a lot of that stuff is mirrored back too. That's just life, and nobody wants to see that. I don't want to particularly know and see my weak spots and my flaws. Nobody wants that. It's very uncomfortable because it makes you vulnerable. It hurts. Like physically, it can hurt even. It can cause stomach cramps or headaches, But you must, if you're fully grown adult, this is the adulting part of life. You must. Even as a child, if you have a healthy home environment, your parents, your mother and father, if they're healthy, if they're mentally and emotionally healthy enough to teach you about your shadow and your dark having a space in your life, okay? You don't repress that. When you notice that, hey, there's something going on inside and it's so uncomfortable because I don't want to face that part of me, whether it's sadness, whether it's anger or frustration. And there's a lot of rage and anger people have towards the ones that are closest to them and towards their loved ones. And that includes your friends. If you're an activist of sorts, your fellow activists that you love so much. These also count as loved ones, right? I'm speaking to the ex-Jehovah's Witness activism community. Some people do log in, and so I have to kind of explain sometimes where I'm directing certain comments to, because there's a mixed group of people that come to this channel. There's a mixed audience. And there's a few people that don't really know anything about me. They've just seen a link and said, hey, let me check in, let me listen to it. And So, sometimes it's hard for people to make those connections like, what is he talking about? So, I'm directing that last comment to those that are listening that are ex-Jehovah's Witnesses and they're activists against the Watchtowers organization's doings. So, a lot of times things are mirrored. We all have the potential to save lives, and we all have the potential to kill lives. Okay, every last one of us has that potential in us. Now, whether we act on that is another story. But none of us, I venture to say, not one of us, no one on this globe has not at one point in time thought about some very dark thoughts. Okay? And I'm going to say you probably have a lot of dark thoughts, more than you might want to realize. And it's not that there's anything wrong with that. Number one, if you're under high stress, the amygdala, which they call the lizard brain, it's the survival brain. It's the part of your brain that helps you survive, fight or flight. When you're in danger or when it thinks you're in danger, okay, then your thoughts and your behaviors become different than if you're in a safe environment and you can be relaxed and you can have enough space and time to respond instead of react. But we don't always have that. When you get cut off in traffic and you're angry, maybe you're late to work, and maybe you had a fight with your spouse before you left, or maybe if you have kids, maybe your kids did something and you just left already in a bad mood early in the morning for work. You're running late. Your boss has been on your back all month, and here someone cuts you off in traffic. And you slam your fist on the steering wheel and you say, I'm going to kill that guy. Or die slow, or something like that. That's a very dark thought. Okay? It doesn't make any of us a killer, but these are things that we constantly think and feel, and we don't even realize this. But then when we go to these uncomfortable emotions, because there's something in another person that we don't like, it's a flaw we see in them, but really in the back of all that, some of what you see in that other person is also in you. And that's a hard pill to swallow, Nobody wants to keep on that, right? It's very uncomfortable. It doesn't feel good. And it can cause pain. But there is a space for that, okay? That's what I'm saying. That's what I call the dark part or the shadow part, okay? We are all made of dark and light. And the key is the middle pillar, the balance. So making a space for yourself, for you to sit with those feelings of frustration and anger and pain, that's part of life. So right now I'm trying to live up to that. It's always easy to tell other people what to do, but to take your own advice, it's like your mouth just closes shut and ain't nothing going in. Like, what? My own advice? What? No. But at least I'm making an effort. I'm probably falling short more of it than I'd like to realize. So I'm aware of that. But let me tell you, I have been sea lioned. And 2 days ago, and it has just really drained me. Like, part of me is kicking myself because I already knew this was going to happen. But I was trying to give a new person in a particular business or in a particular company. They were a new person. I was trying to give them the benefit of the doubt because I had already spoken to some of these other and dealt with these other ones. I already knew how they, we've already had a long history, so, I don't even speak to them anymore. I just go ahead and send them a courtesy copy of what I'm, what I've submitted, and then let that be that, And if they want to communicate back to me, they can email me or they can send me something in the mail. We are no longer doing verbal communication. That's how bad it has gotten because I'm not going to go back and forth with somebody sea lining me. But this new person, and I knew in the back of my head, hey, she's not going to be any different. And anyway, she called me. And she just fucking sea lioned me. It was just awful. And, you know, that sea lining, I never knew how damaging it is. Because here I am 2 days later. And I just feel so drained. I feel yuck. It was yuck. And she knew exactly what she was doing. Oh my God. She knew exactly what she was doing. Like, this is the queen of sea lining. This bitch is evil. I don't want to sound over dramatic or anything, but I'm telling you, no ma'am. So I emailed her after that phone call, and I let her know that from now on, our communication between us will be in writing. And also, you know, she was just playing dumb and just couldn't do anything, didn't know how to do nothing. And you know, this is a supervisor, okay? And I've already gone through these little games. She is a carbon copy of her mammy. I call her boss or whoever her mammy. She's a carbon copy of her mammy, okay? A parrot. That's what I should call her. Mammy's parrot. You know, I got a nickname for all of them, really. I got Petty Betty. I got Mammy's Parrot. And Petty Betty is not a woman, by the way. Petty Betty is not a woman. It's just the person's petty. And I call him Petty Betty. He is the king of petty. Good Lord. And he is old. He is old. He is older than Moses and the Ten Commandments. I'm telling you. Old, so old and still so petty. I mean, the smallest of them things, really. Seriously. But hey, you know, we all grow and mature at different levels. So, hey, some of us take a little longer than others, you know. But yeah. Anyway, back to the sea lining troll up. Sea lioned the F out of me. And I emailed and let her know that that was my last attempt at, you know, trying to move this project along with, you know, with the in-house folks. Now I'm going to go outside and get some help because she told me she just couldn't understand anything I was trying to tell her. She just couldn't get it. She just, you know, and I tried. I was literally, if I had long hair, I would have just pulled myself bald. That, you know, I was literally just banging my head. And I'm like, she's doing this on purpose. Like, she's really trying to frustrate me. She's really trying to drain me. You know, she's really, like, because she was, like, super quiet when I started telling her, how many times do I have to explain this to you, you know? And I'm just like, I remembered Narky, you know what I'm saying? Narky is another person that I have heard of. I've never met this person, thankfully, but I know about Narky. Something found, you know about, you and I, we know about Narky. So yeah, I remembered all of this stuff you had told me about Narky. And I said, she's doing this on purpose. And so after I had to like, I had to chill out at my bar. I had to go have a couple of drinks and, you know, call a couple of friends because I'm just like, I can't believe I let myself sit here and talk to this bitch. Because I shouldn't have even let her talk to me. I shouldn't have even answered her call and let her just leave whatever she had to say on voicemail. You know what I mean? But this is what you see here, this emotion, this is what sea lioning does, okay? Because I know not a lot of people know what sea lioning is. Like a sea lion, sea lioning. Yes, you can Google that. There's not a whole lot out there on it, and there should be. because this stuff happens all the time. And once I learned about sea lining, you know, I understood. I mean, I was sea lined as a kid to death. I mean, I remember being sea lion as a kid, and to the point where I would just like scream. And then, you know, I was being punished, you know, or I was being taken to the elders. That was a good one there. You know, they took me to the elders because I was sea lion to the point to where I just screamed. And then, you know, see how unreasonable, see how crazy this kid is. You know how this is what sea lioning does. This is a form of covert manipulation. Okay, there are mind control techniques, and narcissists love to use these types, including sea lining. It's like a cousin of gaslighting. You know, it's not quite the same, because sea lining is when they play dumb. Matter of fact, let's go to Google, and I'm going to read you the definition of sea lining. Here we go. Where am I? Sea lining. Sea lining, a noun on Merriam-Webster's words we're watching list, as defined as a harassment tactic by which a participant in a debate or discussion pesters the other participant with disingenuous questions under the guise of sincerity, hoping to erode the patience or goodwill of the target. Yes! That is exactly what went down. And I don't know, she is good. That bitch is good. But that she got me 2 days ago, but that'll be the last time I ever speak to her. I'm done communicating with her, as a matter of fact. I don't even need to communicate with her, period, anymore. I've already communicated with other people and other organizations now, so, you know, she can just chill back. And if she wants to call me, she can leave a voicemail. I'm not listening to any of it, but I'm going to download it and save it. I damn sure will do that, just in case I need to take it to an attorney. But yeah, see, this is what sea lining does. It gets people off kilter. And part of sea lining is when people play dumb. Here's another one here. Why is it called sea lining? Often sea lining involved asking for evidence for even basic claims. The term comes from a webcomic depicting a sea lion engaging in such behavior. So, yeah, online, you know, you have people that say, well, show me proof for like the most basic stuff that they could just Google themselves right quick. That's part of sea lining, and I've seen that a lot. You've probably seen it a lot. Maybe you've done it even. Maybe I've done it too before. I don't know. But these are things, you know, you got to watch out now. When you see it in other people, you also got to ask yourself, hey, is that something I might be doing? You know? But I damn sure wasn't sea lining her ass. I wasn't asking her anything. I was telling her, as a matter of fact. And I basically read the whole company for filth. I sure did. And she sat there quietly. You know, I don't know if they were trying to record me. I don't think they can record me without my consent here, you know. I mean, you know, we've already been through that hoorah before, and that didn't turn out too well for them. Okay? Sure didn't. It sure didn't, and it sure isn't. But yeah, that sea lining, I tell you, she's very skilled. She's very skilled in that. And she will, I am not going to deal with her anymore. Don't have to and don't want to. But let's move on. How do you know? Let me see. I'm going to read you another definition here. Okay. Here we go. Sea lining refers to, this is from Merriam-Webster.com, Merriam-Webster.com. Sea lining refers to the disingenuous action by a commenter, of making an ostensible effort to engage in sincere and serious civil debate, usually by asking persistent questions of the other commenter. These questions are phrased in a way that may come off as an effort to learn and engage with the subject at hand, but I really intended to erode the goodwill of the person to whom they are replying, to get them to appear impatient or to lash out and therefore come off as unreasonable. There you go. That is exactly what she was doing. And you know, it triggered me because that was done to me when I was a kid so much, you know? So I think as unpleasant as that experience was, now that I'm kind of processing this verbally with you, I think it was an opportunity to learn about something that had happened to me where I'm being triggered, and to continue to heal and process that. Because, you know, when you have certain experiences that are unpleasant in the physical world, there's a lot of layers underneath that for you to explore and peel back and see where you might need to work on yourself. And this isn't saying that, you know, there's anything wrong with that, because, you know, we're all a work in progress. Like, as long as you live, you're going to need to be working on yourself. You know, as long as I live, I understand I have to work on myself. Even, you know, no matter how far I've come and no matter how much I've improved, you know, I am never going to get it all done. I'm never going to be 100% perfect, and that's not the goal. The whole goal is just to enjoy the process of constantly healing and improving and becoming more of who you are, and a better version of yourself, you know, advancing and progressing, in all areas as much as possible. So anyway, so here's that process part with me, I guess, is that I'm asking myself, where am I sea lining? Have I sea lioned? Of course, my natural inclination is to say no, right? But I realized I was triggered there, and she knew my triggers. This is not a dumb person. This is a smart, cunning person here, and she knew exactly what she was doing, okay? Because I think she wants to cut me out of the equation, and she wants me to get off kilter to where I appear as unreasonable and lash out. That's exactly what she was doing. Exactly 100%. Man, crystal clear. Crystal clear. And it triggered me because I think maybe I have not been as self-aware as I could be about this, because this is a trigger here, because this was done to me as a kid over and over and over and over and over, you know. So this is something for me to process. I think I know what I need to work on now. You know, at the beginning of the year, I always have certain experiences where I'm like, okay, this is what I'm going to work on for the rest of the year here. And this is it. This is the sea lining. Get understanding and talking more about sea lining, and reading and researching it, looking some videos up on YouTube, and maybe checking out some books, some mental health books, and also speaking with my counselor, my therapist about that, you know. And I just can't wait to talk to her about this, because I think we're going to work on this together, to where when someone sea lions me, you know, I can be just a little bit smoother, have a little bit more finesse, and it's not, you know, it's not triggering me. I've processed that. And if I have uncomfortable, you know, if it is, you know, I'm not, first of all, when I see it happening, I'm not going to give that person any time in any space. I'm going to cut the conversation short, tell them, you have a nice day. I'm going to handle this another way. You have a nice day. I'm going to handle this another way. And then that's that. Thank you for your time. I appreciate your time. I'm going to go now. That's it. And I'm, you know, going to cut them out of the equation. I don't need to deal with that person, and then, you know, handle it another way, a much more efficient way, you know. because I don't have to go through that. I realized I didn't have to sit there and go through these things that I've already written about so many times. I've called about. We've talked about this. This is nothing new. This is nothing new. So, yeah, and I kind of I need to stop kicking myself because I have this thing where you should have known better. What did you expect? And I kind of got to let that go because I had goodwill towards her and this whole thing, even though some of the things that I was being put through, I had every right to, what's the word I'm looking for? I could be a lot harsher and justified in that, but I wanted to give her the benefit of the doubt. And I guess so. I have to let go of this. Well, you should have known better. Why did you let this happen? I have to let that go because, like I said, I think if that that experience had not happened, maybe I wouldn't have realized, hey, I was sea lioned quite a bit, and that's very damaging. That's very damaging. That shit is very dangerous. That sea lining, and it's so subtle. It's passed off as they try to normalize it, and they're like, look at him. See how crazy or how unstable he is? They try to get you unstable. So when you're in a situation where your rights are being trampled, or heck, even when you're out and about in the grocery store, in the restaurant, and you come up there and say, hey, listen, my pizza's got a big old roach in it, you see? And you see the big roach. And they look at you like, what's the problem? And you're like, excuse me? There's a roach in my pizza and you ask me what's the problem? You're already pissed, right? Because you bit into half the roach and swallowed the head, all right? You are pissed and gagged. And they look at you like, well, what's the problem? You ate half the roach and there's a roach in your pizza. What's the problem? That's sea lining right there. Because if their intent is to get you off kilter, you might end up screaming and slamming the pizza on the counter, and then they call police and you're arrested. You see? So, but sea lining, I see it happening a lot online and in real life. And as you see, I was the recipient of that, not a very good thing. But the person that I am, I take misfortune and I pull life lessons from it. As unpleasant as they are, I always try to look for a lesson, okay? And I don't like these kinds of sayings like, well, if somebody hadn't done this horrible thing to me, I wouldn't have been able to do this and this. That's bull, okay? We're not giving thanks to people who do bad stuff to other people. We're not giving thanks to serial abusers for the abuse that they've done. You got to set a boundary there. You got to know what's yours and what's theirs. What's their unfinished business. And that boundary right there is about when you take a hard, painful experience, an unpleasant experience, whether it's anger or frustration or anything that's not pleasant, uncomfortable experience, and you pull life lessons for you. You take that and dig beneath the surface to things that you might be triggered, did that trigger you in some way, or is that linked to another experience that you might have had in the past, or how do you feel when you go and explore and work through those things? You don't run away from it, but you confront those things within you, your own reactions and thoughts and feelings to that, and process that, and you find out, hey, there's a bit of self-awareness here that I need to explore. There's some more light that I can shine on my own self-awareness in regards to this. That's all you. That speaks on you and your character, not on the person who abused you or or hurt you. No, don't give them any credit. It's all you. I had an acquaintance a couple of weeks ago. She told we were talking and we were going back. She's actually Seventh Day Adventist. Well, not she, but she grew up Seventh Day Adventist. So they're like a twin cousin of the Jehovah's Witnesses and some of these other ones, Mormons. Very fundamentalist and all of that. Cult, another cult. Anyway, her mother kicked her out when she came out as gay, as lesbian. Kicked her out and she didn't have anything. And she said, well, my mother had to kick me out and I wouldn't have had to learn to fend for myself and have my own stuff. And, I've heard people say that before. And I think that's a very unhealthy way to see it. It is still trauma bonding. It is still a way of trauma bonding. And trauma bonding doesn't just happen in families. Trauma bonding also happens in groups. It happens in churches, and a lot of churches. I'm telling you, there's talk about trauma bonding. That is really the hotbed of trauma bonding is churches. Religious groups of all sorts. You have trauma bonding in the self-improvement sector. Tony Robbins and these hyped up MLM people. Lots of trauma bonding there. Yeah. So, I'm losing my train of thought right now. Trauma bonding. What was I going to say about that? Let me check in the chat and see if anybody's there. But no, just me still. All right. Trauma bonding. Nobody's going to be up at 8:30 in the Saturday morning listening to me yap about sealining and trauma bonding. Well, anyway, I lost my train of thought for that. It might come back to me. There's a couple of things in my head that I want to express. But anyway, oh yeah, when people say, oh yeah, well, I credit my abuser because if my abuser hadn't abused me, I wouldn't have been able to, to do A, B, and C. I wouldn't have been able to be independent and have my own life and my own job and things like that, right? And there's something wrong with that. It's trauma bonding. It's really still trying to hang on to that. It's unhealthy. And here's why I say that. Because when you realize you've been abused, whether it's a family member or a friend or a spouse or a coworker or a someone in customer service or in any situation, when you realize you have been abused and you turn around and process that in such a way where you pull life lessons from that, personal life lessons that enable you to grow and heal and mature and improve within, that speaks on you only. That's all your work. That abuser is not to be thanked. When that acquaintance told me that, her mother is not to be thanked for her surviving that experience. And now, as a result of being forced to be when she was kicked out to just, be on her own, that's all her credit. The credit goes to her, not her mother. Not her mother. But that's what a lot of people do, and that is a result of trauma bonding. You see. So, and we might talk about trauma bonding sometime because that's another topic. It's related on this whole narcissism scale. That's what narcissists do. They see lie in you. That's one of the things they do. They see lie in you, and those are usually covert narcissists. So they're not the ones that always want to look the best and be the centerpiece in the room and, the very extroverted. They're not always extroverted, okay? They're not always wearing nice clothes. They might not care anything about their outward appearance, They might not care anything about clothes or hair or makeup or whatever. But they know how to sea lion your ass to death, literally. They will sea lion you until they have drained you dead. Dead. Yes. My gosh. That's it. That's it. It says here, if you've been sea lioned in real life or online, you will feel like every argument is cyclical. You make a point only for the sea lion to storm in asking for proof of what you said. Your expertise and knowledge are denied. It's your job to go out of your way to convince them, even though they're the one who questioned you in the first place. Even when sea lining is recognized, responding suitably can be difficult. There are no clear norms for handling it. Advice tends to simply suggest, don't feed the troll. Yes! While this may allow an individual to navigate the moment, it doesn't address broader effects on trust and learning. This is very true because I think the dynamic that I was dealing with, I think it was a little difficult to not quote unquote feed the troll. Like yeah, I totally get that. Like in broader, more complex situations, I don't think there really is one set piece of advice, like there's no one size fits all. That is so true. Sea lining when an uninvited stranger pops into your conversation and peppers you with unsolicited and insincere questions. The sea lion politely demands evidence for even the most mundane or self-evident statements. Yes! And insists that you justify your opinions until he is satisfied, which never is, since he is asking questions in bad faith. Yes, the sea lion is basically the self-appointed good cop in an interrogation for a crime you didn't commit. Yes. My gosh, yes. That's it. That is on point. Yes. So, man, that's some nasty stuff. That's really dangerous. That is toxic. Oh gosh, they got a picture of a sea lion and it says, come back, I wish to engage in rational discourse. Sure you do. Yeah. Yes. This is some dangerous stuff, people. This is very injurious, especially when it's done to children for many, many years. Like that really can erode someone's mind and spirit. That's really some nasty stuff. Man, that's some nasty stuff. So yeah, check out more about sea lining. This is some good stuff. I'm going to take a break now. I'm going to play a song or two and run to the kitchen, get some seltzer water, maybe hit the loo, and then I'll be back and I want to talk to you about something related to this, which is narcissism and narcissists. I want to talk about that a little bit. I shall be back.
Des yeux qui font baisser les miens, un rire qui se perd sur sa bouche, voilà le portrait sans retouche de l'homme auquel j'appartiens. Quand il me prend dans ses bras, qu'il me parle tout bas, je vois la vie en rose. Il me dit des mots d'amour, des mots de tous les jours, que ça me fait quelque chose. Il est entré dans mon
Oh man, I'm sorry about that, guys. What the heck? Sorry about that.
Une part de bonheur.
Messing up the flow.
Je connais la cause. La nuit pour sortir dans la vie. Il me l'a dit, l'a juré pour la vie. Et dès que je l'aperçois, alors je sens dans moi mon cœur qui bat. Des nuits d'amour à plusieurs, un grand vent.
All right, I am back. I'm drinking Signature Select Seltzer Water, lime flavored. All right, so let's talk about narcissists, people. You want to talk about narcissism? These are some topics I'm going to have to work with for a minute now, for the rest of the year. Yeah, that's sealioning. That's a trigger. I bet it's a trigger for a lot of people. I venture to say a lot of listeners might be realizing, I've been sea lioned by a person. Oh, now I understand. Yeah, because it's easy to, they like to blur those boundaries. Like I said, it's a weapon. It's a weapon. It's a real nasty one, too. Hey, Something Found. What's up? Something Found says sea liners will have you doing this, analyzing the situation that they put you in and having you question your interactions. It's crazy making 101. Yes. Oh my God. This bitch has me like not feeling good. Yucky. Ucky. Ugh. Yes. She knew exactly what she was doing. Respect on that bitch, but I ain't fooling with you no more. No, ma'am. I'm going to have to get my rituals out. I'm going to get my super banishing rituals out. You know what I'm saying? No, ma'am. We're not going to have that. I have to get my middle pillar out, and rebalance and recalibrate. But let's talk about narcissism in relation to that, because this is one of the weapons that narcissists use. Another one they use is they spin. They spin things around, and they do victim blaming, and then they also pretend to be the victim. The abusers will try to turn into a victim. As far as perception, they are not victims, but they do want to turn it around as if they're the victim. Now, I'm not a mental health professional. I am not a psychologist. I am not anyone that is qualified to diagnose anyone. Something Found says, good morning. Good to hear you doing a live. I will be listening and lurking. All right. No worries. You know what I'm saying? Something Found. Yes. I appreciate you stopping by. So let's talk about this. Narcissists. Narcissists will turn that stuff around. They'll victimize you, and then they'll cry and say that they're the victim. Sometimes they don't have tears. You got to watch them too. If they're trying to cry in front of you, go look in their face. Pay attention. Do you see tears? Because they'll try to cover their eyes to where you don't see, and you're going to have to say, move your hand, bitch. I need to see real tears. Where are those tears? I don't see any tears. And they say, well, I had my hand over it. You didn't see it. There was a tear on the left corner of my left eye. That was not a tear. That was eye boogers, bitch. Okay? Who are you trying to kid? I did not see you cry. I saw you sweat. I saw your greasy Crisco face sweat, looking like Howdy Doody on crack. Oh, that rhymes. Well, this person doesn't really look like they're on crack because they're way too, I'm just going to say it, fat. Hey, I'm fat, so I can say the word fat. I can call other people fat because I'm fat, okay? I haven't been able to fucking lose weight in forever and a day. I'm fat, so if you want to come at me, for calling someone fat, come on, because I'm fat right here. What you gonna do, right? It's like the N-word. If you're not a African American, if you don't have black skin, then that's not a word for you to say, Joe Rogan. Okay, so anyway, I had to slip that in there, you know what I'm saying? I had to slip it in. Okay, anyway, back to this narcissism thing, victim blaming. They'll turn that stuff around on you and then they'll make you think you're the abuser. So, again, here's the boundaries. And another thing they do, they do a whole lot. And the whole game is to make you think you're the bad one, that you caused abuse. That's a lot of things. That's what a lot of abusers tell children. Oh, you provoked him. You caused this abuse. It's your fault. You see, you're the child, but this adult is telling you it's your fault that we're doing this. So you have to watch out with these mind games. It's psychological warfare. That's really what it is. I mean, I hate to be over dramatic with the word warfare, but there's a term Jehovah's Witnesses use. It's called theocratic warfare, you see. And really, it is psychological warfare. It is. It's cult speak for psychological warfare. And narcissists they're like a black hole. They have no ability to self-validate themselves, to be self-aware, or to even love themselves. The type of love that they have is a very unbalanced, destructive kind. And you can't really call that love, because love is about life. It's about creation. That's what love is. It's about continuing life, not death. So, and destruction. So these people, they don't have these abilities to be self-validating, to have a healthy self-esteem. It is an unhealthy type of ego that they have. Having said that, we all have a measure of narcissism within us, and we have to be careful when we call someone else a narcissist, when we call someone evil. I've called plenty of people narcissists, and they are. I'm telling you, I know I'm nobody to diagnose anybody, but I'm telling you they're narcissists, okay? I'm sure you have a few on your list too, we can all get together and bring our narcissist list, and I'm sure we will never ever run out of names. And there might be some people, if we all get together, there might be some people whose names are all, in the room that are on somebody's list. But having said that, folks, I want to talk to you about those kind that really have a huge trail of dead bodies behind them. They leave a huge trail of destruction and dead bodies, so to speak, behind them. Those kind of people. I don't know, have you known someone like that? Do you currently know someone like that? Hopefully, if you can say, no, I've never known anyone like that, then that's good. You're lucky. You're very lucky, and I'm happy. I'm glad to know that there are people out there that have not had such nasty experiences with folks. But there are people out there like that. They are serial abusers, and recently, I guess, the phone lines always get hot when something big happens in certain communities. I get texts and messages and all kinds of things. I'm just like, wow, pictures and videos and screenshots. It's just like, whoa. And a lot of times it's multiple people from multiple sources, and not just one. It's like multiple people are like, hey, did you hear about this and this? What? Yeah, look at this, and look at this video, and look what this person, yes, wow. So, there's been some things going on, and I had no idea that this one person, he's a YouTube influencer. And back in the day when I was hanging out in a certain community, I knew of him. I watched a couple of his videos. His vibe really wasn't anything that I felt interested in. He didn't vibe with me for some reason. I mean, I didn't see anything wrong at the time. I didn't know who he was really. He just, the thing that turned me off was that he looked like a sweaty pig. He just very unkempt. He was just, like I said, he looked like he didn't shower. He just looked nasty. He looked like he hadn't showered in a couple of weeks, and just unkempt hair, and just something about him I just was not into, right? So I think I kind of had he discredited his appearance, discredited what he was doing. Like he had this type of way where he was supposed to be taken very serious because he was talking about topics that are very serious, like cover-ups of child abuse of the worst kind, the most reprehensible kind that you can think of, if you know what I'm talking about, within religious institutions, specifically within the Jehovah's Witnesses. And you need to be, if you're going to be taken serious, you're trying to get out there with media, CNN and BBC and A&E, you need to be up to par in your appearance. I mean, you're not all based on your looks, sure, but if you're going in certain circles, you've got to be up to par in your appearance. That's just how it is, if you want people to take you serious. So I couldn't take him serious. That was it, I guess. What I'm trying to say is just I couldn't really take him serious because of the way he looked. He looked like a slob that just, never gets off the couch. And maybe that is the case. I don't know. But other than that, I just didn't know anything about him. But from other people and from a trusted friend at the time, she told me about him. She said, I hate that John Cedars guy. Oh, I said his name. Oh, shit. Oh, well. I hate that guy. And she said that he was saying something to her racist. It was some kind of race thing. And I guess he was trying to call her racist because he had said something racist and she called him out. And he was trying to turn it back on her. Well, the thing is, she was African American, so he totally lost that fight in that forum because he was trying to call her racist against blacks. She had called him out, she said, for saying something racist, and then he tried to turn it around on her, and he found out that she was African American, so his little thing didn't work, his little maneuver, his tactic was totally obliterated. And she said after that incident, she just blocked him. And that was early on, way early on, before I knew any of these activist people and these other types of people that were, I think there's multiple communities under the umbrella of the ex-Jehovah's Witnesses and those that are calling themselves activists out there for different causes. I think there's different subgroups and categories in there. Anyway, yeah, I didn't know much about him, didn't really, care to look at much of his stuff, wasn't very interested. And then at some point, I got around certain people and they were vehemently against him. Like it was palpable through the screen. Like it was just a whole group and they just did not like him, to put it lightly. And they had a whole group with memes about him. And at the time, like I said, I didn't know anything about the guy. And I thought, well, that's kind of crazy. They're ganging up on this guy. And okay, I heard he was a prick, but I had no idea he was a serial abuser. Like this guy has more dead bodies under his belt than probably Hitler. I'm just being, I'm just going out there now. I'm being dramatic, but the guy has a lot of he has hurt and crossed a lot of people. Like I have had so many people come to me from different areas, even people that aren't activists or they're not in the extra Jehovah's Witness forums and groups and all that. They don't really want to be in that, but they've even told me things. So I at the time I didn't understand, but there were certain groups of people that were very, very vehemently he had wronged them to the point where they were just super angry. Okay, and I think what has happened now that I have watched a few videos and gotten more information on it, I have realized this individual is a really, really toxic, dangerous person. I think, we all have had conflicts with other people. We've all had fights, and we've all hurt people. We've all hurt someone. And I think we've all had narcissistic tendencies in certain instances. You're not the same person to every person. Each relationship is unique, and there might be room to explore where one might have practiced narcissistic behavior. I mean, you could be the best of friends to people that aren't related to you genetically, and they only know you as the sweetest, kindest, most generous person. But someone that's related to you, that's your son or your daughter, they might know another side of you. So you can't always go by what your friends say about you. You can't always go by what your family says about you. But not what I'm saying is none of us is a saint. None of us is an angel. But single-handedly, I don't know any other person that has hurt so many people. Really, I mean, I think this individual has seriously, emotionally, mentally, and psychologically injured people. And I'm reflecting on what I went through a couple of days ago with this sealioning. There's some kind of psychic injury here. I'm just like, why is this still in me? Like, what is going on? Why have I not just moved on and set that aside? But it's not anything from my fault, because this person used a tactic on me that I wasn't quite aware of. I was, but I still wasn't as fully aware. And I think this may be a crucial thing for people to think about who have been injured and wronged by this individual. Maybe that can help people to process some of this, what you've gone through, because this guy obviously is still around and he's still to business as usual. But like I said, I had no idea this person had done this much damage to people. And I just feel bad for people. I really feel bad for a lot of people. Even though I'm not in those circles, I'm not involved in any of that, I still have that empathy for people, because it doesn't feel good, to say the least. And if it's still palpable, obviously the pain and the destruction and the trauma this person caused to so many people is still palpable to this very day. I've watched a a lot of videos. I'm kind of tearing up, and I don't know why. I just feel like sad that so many people have been just treated this way. Shit, why am I crying, man? I wasn't even planning on that. Shit. All right. But yeah, I really do. I'm very sorry that you have gone through this, that you were put through this. You didn't deserve that. There were people I never got to meet, but really good people that tried their very best to help survivors and victims. And they built an organization, and they really had it together. A nonprofit. And I'm not talking about these shady nonprofits, okay? Because there's a lot of shady ones out there. I'm not going to get on my soapbox. But you know who you are. You all know who you are, okay? All right? Double dipping and IRS skipping type of shady nonprofits, okay? But anyway, back to this. They built it with their own funds in their own hands, and then this guy comes and completely hijacks it, and they get to the point where they just walk away. They just walk away and let him have it. I mean, that when I really heard about that was just like, really, I felt that pain. I mean, that hurts me, and I could just imagine. I cannot imagine. It is painful to even think about. This organization you built, out of your own blood, sweat, and tears. You don't get anything back for it to help other people. And this guy who you think is your friend and on your team, he just ends up trying to hijack the whole thing for himself, and causing all kinds of crazy making, until you just walk away, because it is destroying. It's starting to destroy you, man. You got to be careful about who you let into your life. Hindsight is always 20/20, isn't it? Hindsight is always 20/20. You gotta be careful. I had a couple of days where I was alone during the Christmas season. It is something that I wanted. I set up some alone time, and I think I will do that from now on. And during those moments of alone time, those couple of days, I was very thankful for the people that are not in my life. You got to stop and give thanks for the people that are not in your life. Whether you cut them off or whether they walked away. Might have did you a big favor. But this is really back to this. There's a lot of people that are still hurting to this day. It is definitely still raw as ever. A lot of people. And I'm just very sorry. I'm just very sorry that this has happened to you, that you were treated like that, because no one deserves that. This is a really vicious person. This is a really dangerous, vicious person. This person can cause people to suicide. A lot of people. Like, not just one, like lots of people. He definitely, and who knows, maybe he has, and we just don't know it yet, But yeah, my nose is kind of stuffy from earlier. Now, one thing that I heard, actually I didn't hear it, I did hear it, and I did see it. So recently the guy was busted for going to Thailand for prostitution. He's an activist speaking out against watchtower abuses and how they cover up the child abuse and how they have a lot of child abuse and child sex abuse. And here he is going to Thailand for prostitutes while his wife and 2 children have to sit at home without him during the Christmas season and the New Year season. And what I gathered from his video, so what had happened was he told somebody on his YouTube, production team that he was going to Thailand and getting prostitution there. And that was told to others, and then now pretty much the whole internet knows if you're in those circles, But I guess they're saying that he was using funds that he was getting from his YouTube from the victims of the Watchtower, the child abuse survivors and all the victims of the Watchtower, the ones that left. He was getting their donations and living off them. And also, of course, taking that money and getting a holiday over there in Thailand, and exploring the prostitution industry. And he had been doing that for a number of years. Wow. I wonder how much money he has spent on that. Because that can't be too cheap now. Plane tickets, you can't pay with those. You can't pay that with food stamps or coupons. Plane tickets are expensive. And hotels in Thailand too. They're expensive too. I mean, sure, you can get one of those cheap $10 ones, but you're not going to have a lock on the door or any kind of air conditioner. And trust me, you're going to want air conditioning. It's not like here in America. Like there, it is over 100 degrees in the winter. So, it's like 110, 120 degrees. Yeah. So you're going to want air conditioning. Trust and believe me. Because it's going to take you, it takes me usually like 3 to 4 weeks to start acclimating to that heat. It's something else. But anyway, the guy has been going to Thailand for prostitutes. And he made a video, and he was mad and upset because he claimed that he told the person in confidence, and which is an ex-lawyer out of Australia. And then she said, well, no, he just popped that on us, without warning. We didn't ask to know this. He just popped it on us. And knowing this, we couldn't in good conscience continue on with him. And also, we couldn't just not say anything. And so there's a lot of people out there saying that she did good, a lot of people out there saying she didn't. And those that are saying she didn't do good are his followers, this YouTube influencer. He goes by Lloyd Evans or John Cedars, or I don't even know if that's any of his real names or not, But anyway, he goes by those names. And he says that she divulged this because he told her this in confidence. And so there's a whole lot of chaos, a whole lot of fighting and back and forth and whatever, it's really stirring up their group there, the ex-Jehovah's Witness activist group. And I sat there one day and asked myself the question. I watched a lot of their videos, different ones, had their own take on it. And, there was a couple of really good ones. There was one guy who analyzed it with the retired attorney, that was his team member, that was this Lloyd Evan John Cedar production team member. They sat together and they analyzed Lloyd Evan, John Cedar's video, because he made a video where he confessed to it. He didn't deny it, that he was going out there to Thailand and getting prostitutes and had been doing so for a number of years. Okay? He wasn't denying that. But now he was blaming everybody else but himself for that. He was first he wanted to say, well, it's because he was sexually repressed and in the cult of Jehovah's Witnesses. Well, everybody is repressed in that cult. So when they leave, they don't all run to Thailand and get hookers. I mean, I've been to Thailand, but I've never gotten a hooker. I went to Thailand for medical procedures. That's why I went to Thailand. But I'm going to tell you something. When I was telling people I was going to Thailand, I would get side-eyed. They're like, why are you going to Thailand? Huh? What you going over there for? And I'd be like, I'm going for medical issues. Because they were looking at me like, because that's what Thailand is known for, right? Especially now you're sitting here and you're admitting that you're going down there for prostitutes. Okay? I have to raise an eyebrow at that for real. I just have to. I raise eyebrows because I've been to Thailand. I know the deal down there. Like, there's many reasons to go to Thailand. And there are many people that simply just go to the wonderful beaches there and just for Thai, culture. And then there's, it has a lot of medical tourism there. If you don't have insurance that covers certain medical procedures, and they're hundreds of thousands of dollars, there are places in Thailand that you can get those procedures done for $10,000, $15,000 with world-class medical equipment that will rival any of the major centers here. Johns Hopkins, Mayo Clinic, you know what I'm saying? I'm serious. There's a world in Thailand. Most people here, if you've never been to Southeast Asia, you would not, your jaw would drop, because all you've been shown is one thing about that country or that side of the world, So yeah, but back to this now. If you're admitting you're going down there for prostitution and getting sex, and you have a wife and 2 kids, and you're leaving them during the holiday season even because you're depressed. I just don't understand that. Why not go to a therapist? And then this guy admitted that he has a sex addiction. So perhaps you need to focus on yourself. You need to get some help with that. Because, hey, if you catch AIDS and bring it back to your wife, you're going to be the cause of killing your daughter's mother. They're not going to just lose a father, but they're going to lose their mother because of this. I mean, this is a very real possibility. You could catch COVID. You're going to wear a mask when you get with this hooker? Of course not. And the pictures that I've seen, now, there's been several people that have sent me several different pictures. And I have to say now, this guy on his video, he said that he was not compatible with his wife. He humiliated his wife. I mean, I'm just like, he says, well, my wife doesn't want me to talk about her, but, we're not sexually compatible. And I'm like, this guy is a fucking pig. He is straight out humiliating her, telling the world they're not sexually compatible. You know what? He better be glad he's not married to a Puerto Rican or to a Thai woman. You messing with those Thai women, man? You better watch out, because you piss them off, they're not going to stab your couch and slash your tires or come in screaming and slapping you. They're going to throw acid in your face, and your whole face will melt off. Your skull will melt to the ground. You're going to be walking around with one knob as your head. And you're not ever want to come out, because you're going to look like a monster. I mean, not what you're doing right, but anyway. I have to say now, when I hear people say we're not, I'm not compatible with my wife and I aren't sexually compatible, we're not compatible, my husband isn't compatible with me. When I hear people say that, a little thing called gaydar goes off. All LGBTQIA plus people have gaydar. You're born that way. And even straight people have gaydar too. Okay, by the way, there's straight people that have gaydar. I'm telling you, they know how to clock somebody. They know how to clock. You hear me? I'm telling you, straight up. So I always wonder. I have to raise an eyebrow at that. Now you telling us, the whole world here on the YouTubes, that you're not compatible with your wife, and I'm looking at these pictures that people have sent me on the down low. Word on the curb, Chopper 5 at live, Chopper 5 live at 5. Okay, I'm getting it from Chopper 5 live at 5. Chopper 5 live at 5. Word on the curb is that might be a lady boy.
Oh, Jehovah, honey, don't tell me this man is out there messing around with ladyboys. Thai ladyboys, honey, they are so beautiful, honey. You know what, honey? It is so hard to see if they're. You would never know that there was a ladyboy, honey. They look so pretty, honey. Looking prettier than many of these cisgendered women walking around. Mm-hmm. Need to clean up their act. I know one of them, she need to wash her wig, honey. Her wig is so dirty, honey. We got roaches and crabs hanging off the hairs, honey. For real, honey. Them crabs is like, can you get us some ice, Sister Billy Parker May Smith? We need some ice to keep us fresh in this raggedy wig.
All right, Sister Billy Bertha. Oh. Let me see. What we're going to do is do this. And then we're going to do... Oh, wait a minute. Okay, so then I'm going to do this. And then... Oh, here we go. That's what we're doing. Yeah. Oh, give me just a second here. I got to take care of some business. Let's see here. What am I going to do? Oh, done already. Yeah. Okay. So, yeah. All right, so where was I at? Where was I at with this? Oh, yes, the Thai prostitutes and the lady boy. Yeah, word on the curb. Allegedly. Say it with me. Allegedly. Allegedly. Okay. Allegedly, this guy might possibly be hitting it with the ladyboys, the Thai ladyboys. Because one of those pictures was analyzed by a professional gaydar expert. Okay, this person is a certified, bona fide gaydar expert. They can clock. And that person analyzed these pictures, and they said that young lady, that girl, looks like a girl to me, but can't never tell. That girl in that picture Very young looking person for sure. It's a very, very young, you know, very young looking, very young. And the fact that it's Thailand and he's already admitted he goes there for prostitutes, trafficking is bad there. You know what they do over there in Thailand and Philippines and those places. You know the deal. So somebody was like, I'm getting ladyboy vibes from, the girl. So I'm wondering, because now the dude said he wasn't compatible with his wife. So then if that was the case, then I could understand now why he's using that terminology and why he's saying that. But in any case, there's nothing wrong with going with adult ladyboys. We should call them lady men. Okay? But if it's a child, there's a problem. Especially if you're supposed to be an activist against such things. You're calling out an organization which needs to be called out, right? But here is the hypocrite thing going on. And then not only that, but the person is blaming everyone else. They're blaming their wife. They're blaming the other people that they had problems with in the ex-Jehovah Witness activism groups. They're blaming the former team member, the production team there, for telling others. But the problem is this: if you didn't want it to be told, why tell it to anyone anyway? It's like, it doesn't make sense. And why would you tell it to your teammates? See, this is the crazy making that these narcissists do. There's a lot of stuff they do that will not make any sense. It's like, why would they hand you the noose to hang with? And it's just how they are. They're very self-destructive. So you have to be careful here. You have to be very careful here. And there's just so many other things there. I could sit here all day, but those are the most salient points that I wanted to make. That wow, the gravity of that. I'm just like, wow. I really do hope people get some healing. I really do hope people get some justice in those respects. It's high time. But yeah, you got to watch out for certain narcissists and narcissistic tendencies. And this goes along with the topic of mental health again. I'm big on mental health. There are people that'll tell you there's something wrong with you mentally, and they're like the last person to talk. I've had that happen to me a couple of times. I've had people call me crazy, but that's such a term. We all get called crazy. And I think we all are crazy to a certain point. There's different flavors of crazy. And some crazy is cool. Some crazy is funny. Some crazy is dangerous and toxic. You got to know the difference. And, make sure you stay away from the dangerous and toxic crazy. But what is this? This mental health thing, I think we need to look at it more and more. We need to look at it more, because I think it's a lifelong thing to work with, especially if you have a certain background. And really, since COVID, I think the whole world really needs to look at mental health and give it more of a priority than we have been. You know how there's gyms? We need to have mental health centers like gyms, and we need to start looking at mental health and counseling and things like that in a similar fashion the way we look at gyms. Everyone needs to work out. Everyone can benefit from exercise. That's part of the body. Your body needs exercise. No matter what shape you're in, your body needs exercise. It needs it on a regular basis. And the same way your mental health, your mental health needs a type of check-in. You need to check in with somebody that's not related to you, that's not your friend, that can totally be objective. You see what I mean? That can totally be objective and give you a healthy professional's perspective on what you're processing or whatever, right? But so many people still see it with a stigma, and that's why they keep themselves from going, because in their mind they feel a certain type of way about it, and they might even judge another person. They'll say, "Oh well, because they have a certain bias, distorted perception." So I think now that we've gone through this COVID and continue to go through COVID, who knows if it will ever go away. And all of the things surrounding COVID, all of the craziness and the uncertainty, it can take its toll on people, can it? And all of the consequences of COVID, mental health is more important than ever. I think everyone can benefit from mental health, no matter how good you feel, no matter how mentally healthy you are. You can still benefit from counseling, because we all need someone safe that cares about us to give us an outsider's perspective, right? Because it's easy to miss things or distort things when you're too close to the mirror, so to speak, right? You got to be able to get it from an outsider's point of view sometimes. And you need someone to kind of hold you accountable too, that's not related to you, that's not a friend, that's not in your work circle or whatever. That is a mental professional. You need that. We all need that. We need little checks and balances, And that doesn't mean that you're crazy. It doesn't mean that you're weak or that there's necessarily anything wrong with you. It's just like exercise for the body. You got to work out on a regular basis, 2 to 3 to 4 times a week, ideally, right? Now, I'm not saying you need counseling 3 times a week, but on a regular basis, it's different for everyone. Some people it's once a week, some people it's every 2 weeks, and, every 3 weeks. It's all different, but you want it regular enough to where you can benefit and really do some major work there. So, yeah, that was the narcissism part. Man. He doesn't have a job, so the only income he has is from the people donating to him. These people that are ex-Jehovah's Witness cult survivors, many of whom have been sexually abused as children within the cult. That's really, really nasty. He took that money and he has been going to Thailand for prostitutes while he's got a wife at home and 2 kids. He's admitted it himself. This isn't, secondhand information. This came straight from his own video. And he was sitting there blaming the Watchtower for the repression, blaming his wife because they're not compatible, blaming the ex-Jehovah's Witness community. Everyone else was to blame. Man, That's some nasty stuff right there. That's some nasty stuff. Nasty stuff. A large portion of the Jehovah's Witness, the Jehovah's Witness and the ex-Jehovah's Witnesses have gone through this cult abuse for so long. Many of them are Mormons, and there are many that are in it because of their parents. So they were as a young child already. It was all this cult brainwashing and abuse at home. So a good bit of these people end up on disability and SSI and on government assistance. And those people are taking whatever little monies they get, because government assistance, you're not going to get rich off of government assistance. They give you a little bit, but it's really not enough to really live. Many people still have to work. Others have to, just try to scrape and scratch through and do without many different things they need. And it's not the best life, because if they hadn't have been damaged and broken so much, they could be living a much better life. But these people, whatever little monies they have, little resources from the government, they're sending their monies as donations to this guy, to feed him and to feed his 2 daughters and to feed his wife and to pay his rent and to pay his utilities and to pay for his vacations and his trips and all his supplies for video equipment and computer equipment and cell phones and cell phone devices and vacations to hookers and whatever else. I mean, it's coming off of these people's money. I'm just shaking my head, I really am. Well, anyway, I don't know what else I have to say. I feel like I have more to say, but then I don't. I don't know. It's just infuriating. It's very infuriating. Thankfully, I never gave any money to him. Like I said, his whole vibe already was something that I was just indifferent to him. I didn't know him. I didn't love or hate him. I just had, it was just indifference. It just didn't strike my fancy in any kind of way. And like I said, his appearance, his presentation, his appearance, the way he just was not groomed and not very unkempt, it just comes off, he looks like a slob on the couch. Just somebody that just doesn't do much but costs a lot, There's some people, if you're in any kind of relationship with them, whether it's a personal or professional one, they cost a lot. They take more than they give. And this can be anybody. And outwardly, they might be giving you they might have a little money and they might give you a lot of things. Physical things. But those are some expensive things. There's a cost there. There is a real cost. And it is, when you really start breaking it down, it's way too high of a cost. Somebody gives you a laptop at the cost of your sanity. That's way too high of a price. I don't care what that laptop costs. Somebody gives you a cell phone, or somebody just takes you out for a hamburger. You know, some of these people are just ridiculous. They call you up and invite you out. They insist you come out. You didn't ask them to call you and invite you. You were doing your own thing. They call you, invite you out for a hamburger and a piece of a French fry. And then they want to think you owe them the world. You see, that's why I don't take favors from people. I mean, I might take a favor from someone I know and trust, but not in general. Because you got to be careful now. Certain people, they're going to think you owe them your life. And all they did was, they they handed you a penny that they just found on the ground next to your foot. And I'm like, you better go on with that foolishness. You know anybody like that? Anybody ever done you like that? There's people out there that do that. But what's the cost? You got to ask yourself that. What is the cost? Because sometimes when somebody does you a favor or they seem to be generous and they give you things, there is a high price to pay. It may not be money, but you might wish you would have just had to pay some money, because what they really were after, was too high of a cost. So you got to watch out. Again, these are narcissists. These are people in that dark triad. And the difference between somebody who has tendencies or who might display certain narcissistic behavior and someone who is a narcissist is that the narcissist has a consistent track record history over time. Whereas someone may display certain, someone may be a real a-hole, right? But they don't do that consistently over and over, steady, over a long period of time. So that's the difference here, okay? Because, truth be told, we could probably just paint everybody a narcissist if we did it, by just a single exception or, a certain action or something like that. But what I'm talking about is somebody who has a serial abuse history. There's a history there. And, there's different kinds of people. Again, you have people that outwardly act a certain way, and you have people that they have an outward character for the world, for the church, for their friends, and for their co-workers. And then at home, behind closed doors, with their kids or with their spouse, it's a whole different story. It's a whole different story. So, speaking of narcissism, I couldn't help but touch on Ghislaine Maxwell and this Andrew guy from the UK. What's the news on that? You've been keeping up with Guilty Lane Maxwell? Let's take a look at Guilty Lane Maxwell. What's the news with Guilty Lane? I call her Guilty Lane Maxwell. Sometimes I call her Jizzface Maxwell. So let's see. News. You know where I get my news from? Twitter. That's where I get my news. Twitter. In about 15 minutes, I'm up to par in any kind of subject out there. Let's see. Guilty Lane. Oh, really? It's not been a good 48 hours for Prince Andrew. A picture surfaces of him and Ghislaine Maxwell showing Bill Clinton and Kevin Spacey around Buckingham Palace after he had said he had no recollection of being at the bash. And a masseuse describes him as a creep and sex pest. Ew. So he denied something. Yeah, he's all, they're all just gonna say no, that's not true. We're innocent. Blah blah blah. I mean, what do you expect them? What else do you expect these people to say? You expect them to fess up? These people are not gonna do that. I see some parody accounts here. Let me see. Ghislaine Maxwell can't keep motion for retrial under wraps. Judge rules. Oh, I love this one here. So, she's been trying to get a retrial since she's been convicted for child sex trafficking and all that. Horrible person. Horrible people. Horrible, horrible, horrible. Stick her in jail and let her rot. That's what I think. But they've been wanting a retrial because one of the jurors said that he had been abused, and he used his story to convince the rest of the jurors, which there's nothing wrong or illegal with that. But supposedly there's a question of whether he told that he wasn't a survivor during this election or not, blah, blah, blah. I don't think she's going to get a retrial. I don't think she has a case, but you knew she was going to go down kicking and screaming. She was not going to just take it laying down, and she was going to grasp at whatever. She's been trying to say that they treat her worse than Hannibal Lecter, and Hannibal Lecter is not even a real person. It's a movie. What else did she say? Oh, when Bill Cosby got released, her lawyers filed motions, and they said, well, since Bill Cosby got released, she wants to be released too, so, she's just grasping at straws. But in any case, so, of course, they're given the opportunity to present their case why they think there should be a retrial. And so here's what's going on. It says here a Manhattan federal court judge on Friday denied Ghislaine Maxwell's request to temporarily keep her motion for a new trial under wraps. This woman's always trying to keep something under wraps. You know that? She's always trying to block something from coming out. She is worried every which way you turn. She's trying to block this and block that. No, don't show that. Don't show this. No, no. Judge Allison Nathan ruled the request is not necessary to protect the integrity of an inquiry and does not fit the standards normally applied to redactions of judicial documents. In layman's terms, the judge said that it is not necessary. Okay, so her lawyers, this Maxwell's lawyer, was saying that in order to protect the integrity of the inquiry that they're making now into this possibly doing a retrial. And so they're saying that they want to review the jurors' questionnaire that they filled out and the other interview papers and all of that. They want to now review and go over, did he lie? Did he leave something out? What's what, right? So in all of that, Ghislaine Maxwell's attorneys felt that if they do that, then he will have a chance to, I guess, slip through the cracks some kind of way. He'll have a chance to change something. I don't know. Anyway, they say, they want to block parts of these pieces of information. They want to redact certain things so that they can keep the integrity of the inquiry. So the judge says, no, that's not necessary, and it does not fit the standards normally applied to redactions of judicial documents. So the judge had to let the lawyer know, sweetheart, you don't know what you're talking about, okay? Just quit it already, okay? You're just throwing stuff in there because you have to, because you got to play your lawyer part. But we all know this is foolishness, okay? This doesn't even make sense. This is not what we apply this rule to. You're out of bounds. So in a February 1st letter, Maxwell's attorneys had argued that her motion for a new trial should remain under seal, either until the judge ruled on it or until a hearing was held to address the request. So it says here, The defense told Judge Nathan that unsealing the motion would give the juror an improper preview of information he does not have and should never have, or at the very least should not have at this point in the process. Among the information the lawyers were trying to keep from the juror were his exact questionnaire responses that have not been made public. But Judge Nathan ruled that she was unpersuaded by the defendant's concern that media interest in the motion warrants temporary sealing of the documents in their entirety. She said both sides must instead propose redactions to the motion. So, Ghislaine Maxwell, 60 years old, was convicted in late December of sex trafficking and other charges for luring and grooming underage girls for her longtime companion, Jeffrey Epstein, to abuse between 1999 and 2004. She faces up to 65 years in prison. Wow, she's not even 65 years old yet. She hasn't even lived a whole 65 years yet. She's close. And now she's going to jail, to prison for that many years plus 5. Wow. Can you imagine? This woman got away with this for so long. You know she was like, she never thought she would get held accountable this late in her life. How old was Cosby? He was in his 80s, right? And they put him in jail. I'm telling you, this kind of stuff, these people, they think they get away with it, and they'll be like 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s year old. And boom, that police officer, no, they ain't gonna knock on your door. They just gonna be like, boom, 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 open the door. And if you don't open that door, they're gonna get that door stomping. And then if you try to run out the back door, you got about 8 of those cops right there coming through your window already. There's nowhere to run. Yeah. Well, so let me see. What else do we have going on? Let me see. Can you hear me? Let's see. All right, so what else is going on with Ghislaine? I think that's about it for now with her. But I do wonder now, all of these people that were connected to her, how come we're not hearing their names? You know, there were all these John Does that were supposed to be released. And then we have these pictures with all of these people, Donald Trump and this ex-Prince Andrew and Kevin Spacey and Naomi Campbell and countless other people with Ghislaine and Jeffrey Epstein. The Queen of England is sitting with Epstein, and Epstein is sitting in her private cabin and stuff with Ghislaine. I don't know, people. I don't know. It's strange. Excuse me. Who were her customers? Who were Ghislaine and Jeffrey's customers? Why are we not hearing about their names too? Why are we not hearing about their names? Okay. So, Maxwell, let me do one more search. What kind of photo? It says there's a new photo released. Where is the photo? It shows the 61-year-old prince appears in a newly published photograph from 2002, which shows him at his mother, Queen Elizabeth's official residence with Maxwell, who's facing 65 years in jail. Excuse me. Okay, so I guess I remember reading where they claimed that he might have been dating her. They might have been dating Andrew and Ghislaine. So he denies it, but they had some photos with them together that they definitely looked like a couple. They didn't look like they were just, friends or co-workers or whatever. So, okay. Well, I guess that's the update with her. Nothing new yet. Let's see. These are narcissists too. This is definitely a narcissist. And she's never going to... This is the kind of narcissist that doesn't even see anything wrong with what they do. You got certain ones that understand they're doing something wrong, but they just don't care. But you have a whole other level of narcissism where these people refuse to acknowledge that they have done something wrong. They refuse to acknowledge it. And you can talk to them until they're blue in the face. It will not matter. Let me see here. Ghislaine Maxwell told masseuse, "I'm going to introduce you to someone more famous than God." Really? They knew each other well. Prince Andrew pictured with Ghislaine Maxwell in 2002 Palace tour. New photo emerges of Prince Andrew and Ghislaine Maxwell. Okay, so I've already seen most of these, so I think there's nothing new with her other than what we've covered. Prince Charles banishes Andrew from Windsor Castle as he faces Virginia Giuffre sex trial in USA. Sued in the USA, you're sued in the USA, sued in the USA. So he was disfellowshipped, excommunicated, and banished. Prince Charles tells brother Andrew to stay out of the line of sight and banishes him in all capital letters from Windsor Castle as he faces Virginia Giuffre sex trial in the USA. Prince Andrew hasn't been seen near the castle since being stripped of his military robes. He could be turned out of royal lodge when Charles becomes king, it is claimed. A royal source told The Sun that Charles wants Andrew out of the line of sight. It follows Andrew's ex-massage therapist alleging he was a constant sex pest. Wow. Oh, wait, this is a new person? His ex-massage therapist alleged he was a constant sex pest. Oh, goodness. Oh, Jehovah, honey. That's right, Sister Billy Bertha. Oh, Jehovah, honey. This is some juicy tea right here. Okay, I gotta skip through. They always say the same thing, like the first 3 or 4 paragraphs, because they have to give you background in this whole thing. Hold on, baby. Let me read this here. Well, that's gonna be hard. If Charlie Boo wants Andrew out of the line of sight, that's gonna be hard because Virginia Giuffre is going for jury trial. So that's going to be very public. So I guess he's pressuring him to try to pay her out in settlements, but I don't think she wants any money. She said she's not there for the money. She wants a jury trial. She wants him held accountable because, a lot of times those jury trials, when you're convicted in civil court, then prosecution for criminal sometimes follows behind that, see? But that don't follow behind settlements. a lot of times. But stuff comes out in that trial. Yeah, he has been warned to keep his head down. Keep your head down, mofo. You're going to ruin it for the rest of us here. Charles does not want Andrew to be photographed every other day looking happy and waving as he is driven to the castle. Eventually, Andrew will be made to leave Windsor and could get several £1,000,000 from the royal family. But he has made it clear that he will hang on for dear life. Wow. So they're trying to kick him out and he's not trying to leave. Sources reportedly refused to rule out the Duke remarrying 62-year-old Fergie, who he divorced in 1996, if they were left to provide for themselves. Wow, he's going to have to remarry his ex-wife at 62? Reunited, and it feels so good. I don't think they're going to feel all that good, but okay. Comments come as Charles and Camilla cement their dominance within the royal family. Okay, I don't know who that. Oh, Charles, of course. I know who that is. Okay, Jubilee, blah, blah, blah. Oh, here we go. She told the nation. Okay, wait, let me backtrack. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. The announcement came around the same time Mrs. Grünbaum, oh, is she German? Grünbaum claimed that she swore at Andrew and furiously told him it's none of your fucking business after he allegedly asked her if she takes it up the ass. Oh my God. Oh my God, that is sick. This guy's a freaking creep pervert. You know what? I hope that Virginia Giuffre fries him to a charred crisp. Emma Grünbaum, 50, has claimed that the Duke of York tried to hug her after massage sessions and always insisted on being naked throughout apart from one of his own towels. It came after masseuse Monique Gianelloni alleged that in 2000 a valet showed her Andrew's bedroom at Buckingham Palace before he came out of a bathroom naked. Wow, he's trying to bone every masseuse he can. Miss Grünbaum said she was a sports massage therapist at the Wentworth Club in Surrey in early 2005. Okay, so this wasn't no, sexy massage or whatever, right? This was sports therapy. Okay, I get that. She says, okay, so she was a sports massage therapist at the Wentworth Club in Surrey in early 2005 when she started treating Andrew's ex-wife, Sarah Ferguson. Fergie allegedly recommended her services and Andrew's staff then got in touch. She allegedly first met the Duke that summer, months after the first sex claims against disgraced Jeffrey Epstein emerged in the U.S. Oh, so this was kind of recent? Grünbaum? Okay. The massage therapist, a freelancer who was not knowingly vetted by palace staff, claims she visited Andrew 6 times that year. Miss Grünbaum alleges she first got a call from the Duke's personal secretary inviting her to the Royal Lodge. When she allegedly attempted to adjust the massage table, she claimed she heard Andrew's voice behind her saying, "Hey, nice ass, do you take it up the ass?" Ew. It came after masseuse Monique Gianelloni alleged that in 2000, a valet showed her Andrew's bedroom at the Buckingham Palace before he came out of a bathroom naked. She said, when I walked into the room to give him a massage, he took off his robe and was naked. I wasn't expecting that because this was obviously a very high profile person and I was very nervous. I was a bit shocked to see him without any clothes on, but it's usually the client's choice on whether they want to be naked or keep something on to protect their modesty. The Duke has demanded a trial by jury in New York later this year after Ms. Giuffre alleged she was forced to have sex with him on 3 occasions when she was a minor under U.S. law. Andrew has vehemently denied all her allegations. Now, I have to say now, if you're giving him a sports massage, I'm not a massage person, but if I were, no, one of the ground rules is you keep your underwear and you keep a towel around your midsection, your bottom half. No naked shit with me. Hell no. Yeah, I don't know about that. I don't know about that. I don't know if this article was completely true. I feel like there's a certain spin because that last half down there, I don't know. Now, this Emma Grunbaum, she definitely looks like a sports therapist massage, but I don't know anything about this Gianelloni. It's a very unique last name. Okay, so Gianelloni was a member of the British Register of Complementary Practitioner, was working at a clinic in Kensington doing home visits. Okay, so these were both legit massages, but one of them was unvetted. By the Royal Palace. I don't know what that means. There's a couple of items there that's I need more info on. For some reason, I think I need more info. That article there's a couple of things that's been left out. I can't put my finger on it, but I feel that there's a couple of pieces there. Well, anyway, so I think Andrew there, he's in a tough spot. He's damned if he does, and he's damned if he don't. Oh, just 41 minutes ago. Here's another one. This is interesting. Knows more than most, Andrew's captivating friend could blow lid of sex abuse trial. A friend of Prince Andrew could be crucial in the civil U.S. lawsuit with rape accuser Virginia Giuffre. Is this clickbait? Oh, wait a minute. I see some new pictures here. Oh, okay. I see some new pictures here with a new woman. All these ladies are coming out. They're coming out. New photo emerges of Prince Andrew. Okay, that's what it was. Oh, wow. Here's a headline for you. Prince Andrew was obsessed with anal sex, former physical therapist claims. Whoa. That's the one we read. I think that's the same one. Wow. I don't know if there's going to be a monarchy left in a few years. I don't know. I don't know if England is going to continue to have a monarchy anymore. I don't know. Giuffre may single-handedly destroy Prince Andrew and that entire English monarchy. Well, it's not her doing it. It's what he did. He destroyed it. Prince Andrew destroyed it a long time ago. It's just now that he's being held accountable, or at least we're looking at the possibility of some accountability, you know? But, even if, like right now, he's not in prison, okay? And there are a lot of abusers that are not in prison. These are my parting shots to you now. There's a lot of abusers that are not in prison, you see. And it may look like they got away with something. Maybe you know an abuser in your personal life that has really done some damage to you. It may look like they're getting away with it, right? They're not in prison. But sometimes, number one, life and karma take their own type of time. And as you see these old people in their 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s being put into prison for what they did many years ago for so long. You see? But with Prince Andrew right now, we don't know. Right now we are looking at a civil case. So worst case scenario in the civil case, he will just have to pay out millions of dollars and he'll have financial issues, but he won't be behind bars. Now, that may not mean that he may not end up behind bars, because sometimes criminal prosecutions follow civil cases such as this, right? They follow. I think we saw that happen a couple of times. So I think, didn't that happen with Bill Cosby? So in any case, but the court of public opinion, that's a whole other court, you see. And the laws and the rules, they're different with the court of public opinion, you see. And when someone is canceled in the court of public opinion, that's it. It really doesn't matter what, if they're behind bars or not. Because that's a whole other type of prison that they're in. And they can't get out of that. And it's pretty vicious in some ways, because you don't see the bars. But at the same time, the person is never free. They're not free. You see, they don't have any true freedom. So I think Prince Andrew here has already been convicted in the court of law. I mean, not court of law, but court of public opinion. And rightfully so. I mean, he's in the picture right there with Virginia Giuffre, an old guy with his hand around a young underage, a girl, a child, a minor. Okay? And clearly she looks like a girl. I mean, he's at least in his 40s in that picture. Close to 50s maybe even. So, there's a huge age gap. Listen, if you're in your 40s or 50s, don't date anyone under 30. Okay? And that girl does not look a day near 30. So, if you want to play it safe, just don't date anyone under 30. Okay? That way you will never have to worry about whether you're dating someone who's old enough. But now, I tend to think these people have tastes and proclivities of power and perversions. Perverted power, you see. And so they might be attracted to children, because children are innocent. There's really no match. Like, an adult has total power and control, not just sexually, but also mentally and psychologically over that person. And it's just unfair. It's not an equal level playing field there. And that's what I think Prince Andrew is about, and so many others. All these people that have lots of money and lots of clout and whatever, they have tastes for power that you and I just don't. Abusing other people and using them and just treating them any kind of way because they have a lot of money and power and they know they can get away with it, you see. So you have these predators that are dressed up in glitter. Really, it's like shit and glitter. It's like a turd that you throw glitter on. It's basically what it is. It's what I think, anyway. I don't think all of these rich, powerful people are like that, but I think there's a high number. I think it's more often than not. They have different tastes. They have tastes for things that are very, very bad, very damaging and toxic and deadly to people who don't have as much power. So, regardless of how that lawsuit ends up, he's pretty much done for. And he wants to claim that he didn't even know Ghislaine Maxwell when there's zillions of pictures with him and her and him and Jeffrey Epstein. You know, I've seen the pictures where they were having a picnic, an intimate picnic, and it really did look like they were a couple. If they weren't a couple, they were kissy cousins. So, yes. Calls mount for Prince Andrew to lose his Duke of York title over Virginia Giuffre. Yeah, stop calling him Prince Andrew. Call him Andrew Windsor. That's his name. Andrew Windsor. Stop calling him Prince. He's no prince. This is an old pervert. Anyway, I think I'm about to head out. I appreciate you listening and tuning in with me. It's been a good Saturday live stream. Let's see. And I shall let's see. Oh, yeah, here we go. So it's been a good Saturday live stream. I really enjoyed hanging out with you. I appreciate you tuning in now and in the future. Let me know what you think. Oh, I've got one more piece of info before I go. Yeah, the Jehovah's Witnesses, I think their leaders, their governing body leaders, are going to be dragged into court. I think they're going for them individually and collectively. So we've got a lot of accountability. This is Breakthrough 2022, the year of breakthroughs and coming through. And I see a lot of things coming through, like this Ghislaine Maxwell thing. I'm seeing this Andrew thing. I'm seeing with the Jehovah's Witnesses and many other different kinds of groups. Lots of stuff coming through 2022. So I appreciate you stopping by. Once again, I'd like to say I'm sorry for people who have been victimized by one of the people in their community, one of the persons in their community who has a long history of abusing people. He wasn't really all that nice to me either at one time when I did say a couple of things to him, but I quickly put him on ignore, and I don't think he got in more than 2 words with me. So after, before, 2 posts, not 2 words, but 2 posts, and I went ahead and just blocked him. I don't really, I don't have patience for certain kinds of people. I just don't keep them around. I don't engage with them. And that's the thing. If I'm not going to engage with someone, excuse me, once I've written someone off, that's it. I just move on and I don't look back. And I think it's the best thing to do. And there's many people that you might have to do that too. And it's not about necessarily saying that they're bad people or whatever. It's just that, we all are not a good match. And you're not meant to just be friends with everybody. You can just keep a safe distance and go on about your business, and they can go about their business, and we can coexist in this world just fine like that. Just don't come in my space, and I'll stay out of your space, and that's how it is. This Earth is very large. It's a very huge planet. There's a lot of room there. You don't have to be in anyone's face. You don't have to be engaged with people you don't want to be. And if you find yourself realizing that some of this could apply to you in some instance in your life, whether it's, you're realizing that you're being sea lioned by someone, or that you're dealing with a narcissist, or perhaps there's still a lot of pain and injury that you're suffering, or trauma, PTSD from an experience you had with certain people, I want to say sorry to you. I empathize with that. I know what that's like, and I'm sending you healing, and I'm sending you good mojo. And there's nothing wrong with cutting narcissists and toxic people out of your life. And sometimes it may be someone that's related to you, and that's okay. You have to cut them off for your own well-being. And it's sad that you have to make that decision. It's either your well-being or that person. It's sad, but that's life. And from there, maybe at some point you can draw some lessons that can strengthen you. But always remember to put the credit where the credit belongs to you. If you're drawing lessons out, life lessons, and learning, and you're growing from those things, it's not to thank them for doing it. You need to look at you and give yourself credit for moving on and using that as a healing. It's easy to use pleasant experiences as a life lesson for growth. But it's not that easy to use painful, where you've been wronged unjustly and injured long term by someone. That's not that easy. And you're not giving them any thanks, and this has nothing to do about forgiveness, by the way. Forgiveness is a whole other topic. And by the way, you don't have to forgive if you don't want to forgive. There's nothing wrong with that. I know there's a lot of people that want to throw that around, and I see a lot of people who have been abused, and they say that they've forgiven someone, but really that's just another word for denial. Okay, because they have not processed it even. But they want to be so harsh on people who don't forgive. They come to them, you must forgive, da 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 da. And some of them throw that religious thing in there too. But that's for each individual. And you don't have to forgive if you're not able. And it's even better. I think it's better to not forgive than to walk around saying you forgave and you're in denial and you're suppressing things and you're bottling things up and you're walking around saying, oh yeah, and trying to convince yourself and others that you've forgiven that person. That's it's just better to just be clear where you are with things. If you don't want to forgive, you haven't forgive, I'm here to tell you, you don't have to. And it will not stop your progress if you don't. That's a whole separate category there. Okay? And that doesn't mean you haven't healed. Okay? Again, that's a separate category. So, I got off track with that. But, yeah. And overall, in general, like I said at the beginning, be thankful for the things and the people you have in your life. But don't forget to be thankful for the things and the people you don't have in your life. I'm very thankful for both the people I do have, and I'm thankful to not have certain people and certain things in my life. Yes. So there's that. So yeah, that's that, and I guess One last thing I want to say is I truly do believe this year is going to be the year of breakthroughs, 2022 coming through. There's just something different in the air. And I think part of that has to do with COVID. But there is a retribution stream happening where this accountability, especially for things like child sex abuse, this is very, very prominent now in the global society all over. And it is affecting governments, the monarchy, the presidents. We've seen presidents, former presidents and current presidents, not talking about Biden, but at the time when some of these things were released, there was a current president that was also involved in it. Donald Trump was in those pictures. And, people are going to go and say, well, pictures don't prove anything, blah, blah, blah. Yes, that's true. We need more concrete evidence. But I'll tell you what, there's plenty of those pictures that make me raise an eyebrow at any of those people. But again, here you go. This isn't just on its own. It's just not child abuse on its own. It's also affecting politics and governments and economies and societies. This is huge. This is huge. And I truly do believe we are in a time of reckoning. And for those people who have looked away on such things, who have been part of the enabling process, you better get your vitamins ready, because they're coming for you. It's coming. It's coming. So yeah, I'm really happy and pleased to see so many things happening on many different levels like this. On small levels, I see people banding together to get a measure of justice for serial abusers. On a higher level, in the higher up levels, the rich people's levels, I see it happening, and everything in between. So this is a good year, folks. This is a good year. Try to take care of yourself, love yourself, heal yourself. I'm sending out healing mojo to all of the victims out there, all of the survivors, all of the wonderful supporters, all of my friends and loved ones. And and to those people who are the abusers, all I got to say is I tried to tell you. All right, see you guys. Thanks for listening.